Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Amy here. It's nice and gloomy and rainy outside, so I thought we'd take the time to have a little book haul. I've done a little book shopping. I have some thrillers and I have some male romances that I'm really excited to have in my collection. So I have read these already, but there will probably be a reread. And Mimi is trying to eat them as we speak. We'll start off with the thrillers. Save the best for last. I have little Ellie behind me. She's gonna help me film today. We really get to see Ellie on film. Mimi has left the premises. But we're gonna go ahead and start with the thrillers. I picked up 3 thrillers at Target the other day. I just couldn't help it. I was just in the mood for some books, and this is what we ended up with. I spotted We Live Here by Sarah Penborough, and the spine for this book caught my eye as well. This was one that I talked about and I wanted on my TBR. I wanted to get the copy of it, but when I saw this copy at Target, I had no idea we had a sprayed edges copy, so when I saw it, it had to come home with me. It says a haunting novel about a house and a marriage gone terribly wrong. I don't want to know too much going into this, but I have talked about it before. It is on the kind of haunted house side, maybe like a baby horror, if you will. Then I picked up a book by Geneva Rose that I have not read yet. She does have one that has already been released on July 15th that I do want to add to my TBR, so I will be purchasing that, but I do know it has 2 different sprayed edges or spines or whatever you want to call them. I guess it's more sprayed edges, not spines. This is a sprayed edge, Amy. Get it together. But I haven't decided which sprayed edge I want. There's like a Barnes & Noble edition, and then there's just like the regular edition. Let me know in the comments. The Barnes & Noble one, I think, is like just like some swirly lines. If I can find it, I'll put it up here on the screen. And then the original one has like just little 90s little pieces of art all over the edges. I will also put it up here. Let me know in the comments which one, if you've gotten this copy, one of the copies, let me know which one you've gotten. Yeah, so I want to know because I can't decide which one I want. Okay, so I decided to pick up One of Us Is Dead. I've been wanting to add this to my TBR as well because it's one of the books I have not read by Geneva Rose. I have read most of her books. I think there's one more. I want to say it's more on the woman's fiction side, but this one is a mystery thriller. It says The Real Housewives Meet a Murder. I'm probably late to the party on this. This was released a couple years back, and I've seen people read this, but I don't remember how anyone's felt about it. So if you've read this, let me know in the comments if you liked it. No spoilers, just let me know. So we have Jenny, who is the owner of Glow, an exclusive membership only beauty salon. She knows better than anyone. She knows everything about the housewives, down to each individual strand of their hair. Despite the toxicity, Jenny keeps her focus on running her business and keeping the peace. However, peace proves to be impossible when one of her clients is murdered. Let's just leave it at that. It sounds right up my alley. What are we doing, girls? What are we doing? Where's Ellie? Okay, you good? Okay, just checking. And of course I had to pick up another Frida McFadden because I come to just love Frida McFadden and I want all her books. Even though I love some more than the other, I still love all the reads. I feel like you either love her or you don't, kind of thing, but I love how her thrillers are just fun and entertaining, easy to read, and she's always going to give you a crazy twist at the end. I've heard good things about Do Not Disturb, so I saw it, picked it up. It says always waiting, always watching, Quinn Alexander has committed an unthinkable crime. So she makes a run for it. She leaves behind her home, her job, and her family and races to the northern border before the police can discover what she's done. But when an unexpected snowstorm forces her off the road, Quinn is forced to take refuge at the broken down, isolated Baxter Motel. Okay, let's just stop from there. I love a creepy motel. I can't wait. I can't wait to start this one. I've heard good things about this one too, so I'm excited. All right, let's get into the Mail romances that I have added to my bookshelf collection. Two of these I have not read yet, but the others I have read. This book in particular I learned from Book Talk. I follow the author. It is Julia McColgan, and this is Ruin My Life. This is actually the I think she drew this cover. So this is like the illustrated version of her book. This is what the original version looks like, and you can get both of these on Amazon. I did get this one on Amazon. This one was released on July 15th, so you can get it there, or you can get this copy. But I wanted the illustrated copy because I love a good illustration in some books. I have not read this yet, but it has been on my TBR ever since I discovered this author on Book Talk. So I'm excited to read this, although I'm very intimidated by it because I hear it's very, there will be tears. There will be lots of tears and probably lots of emotion flying around. So I'm kind of intimidated, but we're still gonna read it. I don't necessarily remember what it's about. Okay, I'll read a little bit on the back. It says, this is from Remy. 6 years ago, I made the critical mistake of falling in love with my best friend. Even worse, he fell in love with me too. But beautiful things are fleeting. The onset of my depression blinded me to the warning signs, and when I needed him most, he vanished with only a cryptic note. That's all we're going to read from Remy. And then Wynn says, it should have been a wake-up call to move back home with my parents after failing out of college and getting discharged from rehab. But that would imply I have something to live for. Idiotically, I agreed to attend a rager, either from boredom or an innate drive to sabotage my sobriety, though all plans of nosediving into my vices come to a screeching halt when I stumble across him. And I'm guessing him is Remy. I'm not gonna read anymore. It's very small on the back. That's why I was kind of struggling to read it. But anyway, yes. Like, very excited to read this, but also very intimidated to read it. So really excited to have this cover though. This whole time I was filming without my light on. That's a lot better. That's a lot better. Sorry about that. It's very overcast outside. We have some rain and some rumbly weather. All right, let's get into the good stuff, y'all. First, we'll talk about this small little book. This is Pray for Us Sinners. This is by Jessie Walker. From my understanding, this is from an anthology that she participated in or that she wrote for. I have no idea what it's about. On the back it says, hell hath no fury like a girl fending for what she won't let herself have. So don't know what that means, don't know anything about it. Don't know if this is male female, male male, maybe male male female. I'm not sure what we have here, but it's by Jessie Walker, so it has to be good. Anyway, I wanted it. It was available for order. She was having like a sale on her website for Pride Month. It was 25% off, and she had like different bundles and stuff like that. So you could get this book or maybe I bought this separately. I think I bought this separately from the bundle that I bought, but because it did come with its own like little bookmarks. And of course she wrote a little note on the pages and signed it, so really excited about that. Yeah, so this was a short story in an anthology that she did. Don't know what it's about, but I got it. We're gonna read it. But my big purchase was I wanted the entire Shilohverse, including Little Bird's Loss. Even though I don't, is Little Bird's Loss included in Shilohverse? We'll talk about it in a minute, but I wanted all the books. I love me some Will and Way and some Maramy. Love me some Maramy. I can't wait for more Maramy. Okay, let's get into it. So of course, you know, the first book in the Lost Boys series is Where There's a Will by Jessie Walker. This is the beginning of Will and Waylon's story. Will and Waylon met years ago when they were young boys. I think around like 8 years old. They were in school together. Will's parents moved to their Shiloh town, and Will and Way became friends, and they also started to realize that they felt more than just friends for each other. Although they didn't really understand what that was, they just knew it was something different. It was something more, even at that young age. Things happen. Will moves away, and as his life progresses and things happen in his life, he finds his way back to Shiloh, and there is where he reconnects with Waylon. Although they are both young men now and have gone through quite a lot. Waylon has had a very troubled past, and you will learn more about his past between both these books. So this is the second book, If There's a Way. This is book 2. They kind of go together. I definitely want them on my shelf like that. But their story is spread across these 2 books. It's devastating, it's heart-wrenching, it's heartwarming, all the emotions. Check your trigger warnings if you have yet to read the Lost Boys series by Jessie Walker. If you have, you know. So yeah, these are the first 2 books, and then she did write some little half books in between before we get to Jeremy and Mason's story. So we have a little novella. This is Still Beating. This is just kind of wraps up Will and Waylon's story and just kind of gets you familiar with where they currently are and where they are going with their relationship. This is the order you would read these in for Will and Way's story. The 2 main books and then this little novella. And then you go into Jeremy and Mason's story. Jeremy and Mason's story is a lot. This is the first book. This is Every Breath After. We don't have the second book yet. She is currently working on the second book. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for more Maramy. This, of course, she has signed all of these as well. So really, really exciting to have these in my possession and on my shelf. I'm so excited. So yeah, so Jeremy and Waylon have quite a journey because they get to know each other at a very young age. Jeremy and Mason actually become friends before Mason becomes friends with Jeremy's twin sister. And then of course Waylon is part of that gang as well. What is Jeremy? I can never remember his sister's name. I think it's Isabel, or they called her Izzy. You heard that rumbly outside? I love it. Yeah, Izzy or Isabel is Jeremy's twin sister. And even though Jeremy's there and he's friends with them as well, Jeremy's very shy, he kind of keeps himself sheltered. He's bullied, but he has his little group of friends. He's got his sister, he's got Mason, and he's got Waylon on his side. But those three become, I don't want to say separate friends, but they are more in a friendship than with Jeremy. Jeremy comes into his own. He realizes that he is gay. The further, the book goes into, he also realizes that he is in love with Mason. And Mason was, Mason and Jeremy first met when Mason, came into their lives. They were the ones that, Jeremy was the one that first met Mason, and Mason was there for Jeremy in a particular situation. Again, if you know, if you read it, I love this story. So we don't have a second book to Jeremy and Mason's story yet, but we do have a little novella. This is All We Are. This is kind of a little bit of everybody. We have Will and Way and the continuation of their relationship and where they're going. And then we have Jeremy and Mason. So it's kind of, for a little short book, it's kind of split in half, but I think we get more Jeremy and Mason. And you definitely have to read this first before you jump into this. This does take place after this book with Jeremy and Mason. It's also just another look into where these two guys may be going with their relationship. And then a look at how far Will and Waylon have come in their relationship. Little bitty book, packs a good punch though. So that would be the order you would read the Shilohverse in. And then we have Little Bird Lost, and this is Isabel's story, or Izzy's story. This is also a lot of information in here. It sort of picks up from a particular point in this book. So you really could go from this to this before you jump into the little novella. I read everything all wrong. But I still get the gist of everything. I did read these three in order, where there's a wheel, and then if there's a way, and then Still Beating. But then I think I read All We Are before I even started Every Breath After, and I was like, wait a second, what? But you get the gist of it. I actually kind of went back and just read Jeremy and Mason's part after I read Every Breath After, because it made more sense. I was like, oh yeah, so I reread their part in this book just so it could just all fit together. So yeah, I do advise you read this before you read the novella. But if you want to read this one, Little Bird Lost, if you want to know more about Izzy, you don't have to. It can be a standalone if you don't want to get into the whole nitty-gritty of the Shilohverse. It's not necessarily part of the Shilohverse. This is actually part of another series. This is part of the Aviary trilogy. Yeah, so there's three books in here. This is the first one. I don't think she's written the other ones. Yeah, there's supposed to be 3 more books in this little trilogy. This is a spin-off of The Lost Boys, but it's the Aviary trilogy. I would love more about the relationships in this book. This is a male, female story that has that, and it's also Izzy's story. That gives you a little hint there. But it is separate from Jeremy and Mason. Not necessarily, because there's something that happens at the end of this book that will affect Jeremy and Mason. It's a lot, but I think the order, she gives you the order. You can go to her website and she will give you the order that you should read it in, which is Where There's a Will, If There's a Way, and then Still Beating, for sure. These 3 are the first 3 you should read. And then it just kind of goes all over the place. You can go right into Little Bird Lost if you want to. Or you can go into Every Breath After and then revert back to Little Bird Lost. But after Little Bird Lost and after Every Breath After, you want to read All We Are. That's how I would go. I would read these three. Where There's a Will, If There's a Way, and then Still Beating. Because that is all Waylon and Will's story. They're going to be in these other books, but this is just their story. Then I would jump into Every Breath After. You can even read up to the point where Izzy's story begins, and you can jump into this. But I would just go ahead and finish reading this, and then go into Every Little Bird Lost, and then of course All We Are afterwards. That's how I would do it. There probably will be a reread for me somewhere in the midst of this, but that's a lot. That's a lot. She is working on book 2 of this one, of Jeremy and Mason's story, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait. This has been like such a slow burn. This book, slow burn. Like it's just, don't expect any really sexy times in here. This is just their story getting to what there could possibly be. I don't even know what Jeremy and Mason are going to be. I'm hoping they're going to be, but we don't know what they're going to be. Only Jessie knows, and she's going to tell us eventually. But it's a beautiful story. It's a great story. If you haven't read it yet, check your trigger warnings before you go in. There's a lot addressed in here. Definitely check your trigger warnings for this. This is very dark. Very, very, very dark. Has a lot of dark issues, lots of triggers. So you can go to her page and check that out for this book. But it's also, I hate to say it's a beautiful book, but it really is. It's a beautiful read. The relationship between the 3 men and the 1 female is just, it's beautiful. I don't know how else to explain it, but again, if you read it, then you know. If you know, you know. So that was my big treat to myself, was getting this off of Jessie's website for Pride Month. Treat it myself, because I love and cherish all these books, every word in these books, and I cannot wait for more. All right, that's about it. That's gonna be it for for my book haul. That I know that wasn't like a lot of books, but I did a lot of explaining with the Lost Boys series. I hope that wasn't too confusing for you. But yeah, that's what I've been shopping for lately. Mimi has entered the room, so we're gonna call it an evening, and I will see y'all very soon in my next video. Hope y'all all doing well out there. Hugs from me and Mimi and Ellie, wherever she might be. Bye y'all.